The gift that is Velma just keeps on giving, and it does not look like the controversy surrounding this series or the main writer Mindy will die out anytime soon as fans start to prepare for a second season. Yes, you did hear that correctly. HBO saw the reviews for this show and decided that this is exactly what they need in order to take their platform forward. From day one when this show was announced, it became very clear that Velma would have absolutely nothing in common with previous versions of the character, and neither would anyone else within the iconic gang. Once the show dropped, it became clear that everything was far worse than most could have ever expected, with most fans and critics agreeing that Velma falls short in pretty much every aspect. The aftermath of Velma for showrunner Mindy has also not been kind, and that is in large part due to some of the comments that have been made. Right now the show is getting completely pulled apart from all sides, and it has been somewhat interesting to see the audience she is trying to appeal to pull the show apart for that exact reason. There has always been a saying that you cannot please everyone, and that is even more true on the internet. While some fans are blasting the show for being too woke, others are saying that she is not going far enough. As for me personally, I will say what I said previously. I do not care if they race swap or sex swap. All I care about is whether or not you liked and subscribed to this channel. They can change the sex and sexuality of every single character if they want to, as long as the story is good. There has been so much focus on the sexuality and race of all the characters that sometimes these people forget that you also need to write a good story as well. Mindy made a point recently regarding race swapping, and it is kind of interesting how her mind works in all of this. She stated that she found inspiration from Miles Morales, but as you will come to find out, there is one very clear flaw in her comparison. As per Bounding to Comics, she indicated the show was inspired by Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, especially when it came to modernizing and race swapping. She stated, "Why not make the character Indian? We've been so inspired by Into the Spider-Verse and seeing these other characters that can embody the spirit of these iconic franchises. Why don't we try that? We love Scooby-Doo so much, and we're going to honor it." So if you have not figured out yet what the problem is with this comparison, allow me to make it very simple. Into the Spider-Verse was great and Velma is not. Spider-Man showrunners decided not to swap out Peter Parker, and instead used the multiverse to make a new Spider-Man, and with that more important than anything else, they wrote and produced an excellent story. That is the key difference here. As much as the media wants to tell you that the outrage all stems from the fact that there is diverse casting, one look at the reviews will completely destroy that narrative. The overwhelming majority of people who are criticizing the show do not even mention the fact that Mindy is Indian. I honestly don't even think that most people noticed it. Most people are just bashing the poor writing and storytelling. And again, I need to mention this all the time, but yes, I will acknowledge that there are a few weirdos who does not like any diversity. And when that happens, we need to all call it out. But to pretend that all of the unhappiness comes from that means that you are ignoring and failing to engage with any of the show's real shortcomings. They also said while addressing some of the race swapping, the whiteness of the characters didn't feel integral to them. Except for Fred. Fred just felt like a very white person. Now, that is a very interesting choice of words. Most likely this stems from the fact that they wanted a jerk character but did not want to add those characteristics to anyone black out of fear of being called racist, so they decided to go with Fred. Again, for me on a personal level, I don't get offended by anyone portraying a white person as a jerk or villain. It is just a show and they are free to do as they please. Not every white character needs to be a hero, but the ironic point here is that no matter how much you pander, it will never be enough for some people, because believe it or not, showrunner Mindy right now is facing massive amounts of backlash online for being racist against both black people for her portrayal of Shaggy and also for her portrayal of Velma. She is also being called problematic for how she wrote Fred, but not because he is a jerk, but because he apparently portrays everything that is wrong with whiteness. One person said in a tweet that has gained some traction with almost 25,000 likes, "Velma is extremely not good. It reads like a right-wing YouTuber's clumsy understanding of what a diverse show is," which, given that its showrunner is Mindy Kaling, who has faced criticism for transphobia and once described herself as way conservative, kind of makes sense. Now, I honestly do not know how they got conservative from this show, but apparently, they are still not doing enough for representation. All of this does also go back to another point. Whenever showrunners talk about the show, they never discuss any of the plot points or the story points or the direction that they want to take the characters in. Whenever they discuss the show, all they ever talk about is how black and gay everyone is. It is an age-old problem with showrunners who want to showcase more diversity. I have always believed that diversity is good. Proper representation, in my opinion, has always been a positive thing, but unfortunately when you make your show revolve around it, and the entire identity of the show is just about how diverse everything is, you, unfortunately, end up doing way more harm than good. Your first priority should always be to write a great story. When you try to sell your show to the fans, it should always revolve around the narrative. If I ask you why I should be watching and all you can talk about is how gay your characters are, most people will just turn away. If you write a good story and you promote that story, you will be fine. Cast your diverse actors, but don't make it the identity of the whole show. When people ask you why certain characters are black or female or gay, you just tell them because it is normal and move on. When all of your attention and promotion goes towards the race or sex of a character, you just end up otherizing the people you claim you want to respect. George R.R. Martin is not constantly talking about how straight and white his characters are. He just tells a good story, and when he needs to promote, he does that by talking about the plot. You can write a show with as much diversity as you want, but don't allow your promotional work to center solely around that and forget about the plot. With that, will there be some people who have problems with diversity simply because of the sex or race of a character? Yes, but those are a small minority of losers that you do not need to pay attention to. For Mindy though, sadly the backlash against her is coming from all sides. As I said earlier, she was being blasted online still for the show being too conservative, but it does get a lot worse. The same Twitter account that posted the original tweet with 25,000 likes also said, "At Crystal Cove High School, Daff is a popular mean girl orphan who deals drugs because of a dark family secret. Her boyfriend Fred personifies mediocre white richness, his mansion holds a dark secret, and he has teeny whittle privates, a subject of much conversation. Shaggy has become Norville, a school newspaper striver friend-zoned by his beloved Velma. He worries he's beta male, remember that lame humor concept from 20 years ago. Then there are also now reports that we will be introduced to an all-new character called Scooby who is going to become a love interest for Shaggy. I don't even know where to go with that level of crazy, so I am just going to skip right past it." Another person tweeted, and this one was seen by over 500,000 people, looking at how they turned Shaggy in a literal beta cuck in Velma. "It has come to my knowledge that there is starting to be an alarming trend of emasculating and sissifying black male characters and having them as subservient to female characters, and I honestly hate it. Now I do not believe that is the case at all, but all of this does play to the point of it is never enough for some people. There has also been another very interesting conspiracy online, and that is the fact that some believe that the show is actually a plant by conservatives. Forbes report, Velma is so bad in fact, that it's spawning conspiracy theories that creator Mindy Kaling made what is essentially a parody of what the right wing thinks left wing comedy is like. As in, a show that not just recasts most roles with new races, but also features loads and loads of white guys am I right jokes. The idea is that Kaling is a secretly conservative force in media trying to make the left look bad by making a cringy adult cartoon full of this rich white guy has a small dong jokes that the right can point at as everything wrong with race recasted. Social justice influenced media. Now I don't think that I need to say this, but obviously, that is not the case. The showrunners are just very untalented." Another person on Twitter got quite some traction by saying, "The showrunner of Velma, Mindy Kaling, is both a transphobe and said that you couldn't make The Office today because cancel culture. She's a fellow reactionary. She deliberately made Velma suck so the culture war YouTubers make a million videos about it to boost its SEO. Once again, I do not think that is the case. The show is just really bad. Overall, that is where we are right now. The show is getting backlash from all sides, but so far they have been able to ride the hate train all the way to a second season. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button and subscribing for more videos like this. I hope to see you again next time.